my. What a good friend. What a good friend this instrument has been to me. Hi, welcome again. I'm Robert Force. Welcome to the Robert Force Show. We're talking about the Appalachian Dulcimer and some journeys and so on that I've gone on. And perhaps let's get down to the nitty-gritty. It's not about me. I'm not doing this to aggrandize myself. I mean, I love this new technology, the idea that we can create a spontaneous and in-depth body of information that is available to the rest of the world. You know, whether you choose to watch it, you don't choose to watch it, click through the channels, whatever you want to do. But if you're a person that's interested in the songwriting process, in the folk music process, in finding some sort of a touchstone in yourself, hey, keep watching, because that's kind of what I'm talking about, interwoven through all the other insanity that has gone on as I have gone searching for the Wild Dulcimer, as we talked about in my last episode. So when I got going and started bringing in American folk musicians that were from the previous generation, people like Libba Cotton, people like Fred McDowell, and then crossing them over with musicians that were sort of in the new tradition, people like Bert Jantz or Jacqueline Michie or John Renbourn, part of the pentangle tradition. And this combination of here's your traditional roots music, and here is the traditional English as was done by the pentangle, those three musicians I just named at that time, and then this careful overlay where, as you could see, that pop music in the United States was beginning to become, I guess, more sophisticated. You had people like Joni Mitchell playing the dulcimer coming on the national scene, McCoy Tyner using it in jazz compositions, and you didn't really. And rumor is that the Stones used it for No Expectations, things like that, and that kind of fed the excitement. You know, like, whoa, somebody else knows what the dulcimer is, still. A personal search, the search that goes on inside is, well, where's it going to take me? I've learned the music, I've learned the repertoire, I can play 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 tunes, I can do it credibly. I don't think I had a great deal of technique, but I want to remind you, and this is what I tell folks that I'm out there teaching in the Folk Circuit Festival, is that Thelonious Monk, the great jazz pianist, he said that technique is just a technical problem. You know, so technique is something that'll come to you if you work at it. It's like being able to stand on one foot for longer than 30 seconds. So technique comes to you when you apply it to the instrument, but that joy of life, that joie de vivre, it never occurred to me not to do the dulcimer 14 hours a day. It wasn't like, I think I'll get up and play the dulcimer. I had to get up and play the dulcimer. I had to play music. You know, and maybe that's the call that's intrinsic to any artist. I had to do this. And after a year or so of, once again, doing this, I felt the call. I had to get out on the road. I had to. It was times were so volatile in the United States. We had the Vietnam War. We had the civil rights, the marches. We had the recent assassinations, you know, of both Martin Luther King and of Robert Kennedy. We'd had the rise of the Black Panthers. We had a sort of a social consciousness of this baby boomer generation that said, we want to know, and we're going to ask tough questions, and we're going to find our own answers. And so, what I talked about earlier about in searching for the Wild Dulcimer, to me, the best way to do that was to get out on the road. And I said in my very first episode, is that there was a magic window. There was a magic window open in the late 60s and through more or less the middle into the late 70s, so almost a 10-year window. And in that 10-year window, having an instrument and standing by the side of the road with your thumb out and a smile on your face, you know, and a song literally in your heart, was a ticket. It was a ticket into the lives of anybody who passed. And in that period of time, first, I'll say that for the next episode. I'll leave you with this a wonderful concept here. So there I was. I had had my fill of listening to music and playing with these other people. I'd polished up a few techniques. I was taking notes and writing them down, and started this notebook, and I was writing on the back of matchbook covers, whatever I could find, and keeping them. And I said, this is the time. Now I really need to go find the Appalachian Dulcimer. And I took everything I owned, which wasn't much, and I bought a 1954 pink Lincoln Capri, two-door coupe, and I put myself in it, and I drove to the Appalachian Mountains. And I drove in the way the ancient mariner was said to have put the oar and walked away from the sea until somebody said, "Hey, what's that?" And as soon as he knew that they didn't know what an oar was, he knew he was far enough away from the sea. And for me, it was just the opposite. I put essentially the Dulcimer on my shoulder and went down into the Appalachian Mountains with that pink 54 Lincoln Capri. And remember, gas was only 18 cents a gallon back then, so you could go a long ways, even on a few bucks, until somebody said, "Hey, isn't that a Dulcimer?" And I knew I had begun my journey searching for the Wild Dulcimer. And I'm going to talk about the 44th Annual North Carolina Union Fiddlers Convention in, that would have been Easter Sunday, 1971, when we come back. Stay tuned. Robert Force. Good day on you.